let's go to week one. The teams I'm underselling this year, and I get why I'm underselling them. I have a belief that if you're a well-run organization and the season ends poorly, it ignites a focus in the offseason. Patriots, Steelers, Kansas City. The Steelers are humiliated last game, the Chiefs are humiliated last game, and the Patriots had a crappy last month. Well-run and well-coached organizations that end poorly, that instills a real focus and willfulness in the offseason. So I generally like underdogs. If you can give me a competent quarterback and points, I like points. But Browns at Chiefs -6 in week one, I like Kansas City. I have 8 new starters for Cleveland. There's something going on culturally in the NFL. Nobody's playing starters. So the first real game for those 8 starters is not week 3 of the preseason in the NFL. It's week 1 of the regular season against the best play designer, the best quarterback, the best tight end, the fastest receiver, Kansas City. I think Kansas City ended the season being humiliated. And by the way, Andy Reid's the best September football coach in the last 20 years in the league. That is the rare, I'm going to swallow 6. I know Cleveland's probably a playoff team. But Steelers, Patriots, Chiefs, well-run teams, end poorly, creates a real focus in the offseason. Watch all 3 start very quickly. That's one of my favorite week 1 bets. Not my favorite, but one of them. Your thoughts?
I believe I am with you. I 100% agree with your theory that teams that have a history of being talented and that bring their coaching staff with them from one year to the next, all 3 of those, and that end the year badly, find ways to rebound. I believe it with the Chiefs. Their rebound isn't from not making the playoffs to making the playoffs. Their rebound is from kind of getting embarrassed in the Super Bowl. And I would argue they got embarrassed because their offensive line was in shambles and Patrick Mahomes was injured. This is a juggernaut of a team, and they've only gotten significantly better at the offensive line. I agree. The Browns, great value on the Browns. The Browns are one of those teams, if you're buying Super Bowl future value, they were in the low 20s and they've moved up into the mid-teens, right? From about 22-1 to 16-1. Kansas City at home, less than a touchdown early in the year. When I believe I've heard you talk about this on your show, Patrick Mahomes is unstoppable early in the year.
It's really, they're cartoon numbers. They're literally like Alabama against out of conference games. It's insane.
Exactly. And so like they might not lose a game until week 10 or 11, whenever they play the Cowboys. That might be their first big challenge if we think the Cowboys can become something of a challenge, right? So completely agree with you on that game. Let me say this about the Patriots and the Steelers. I am a bigger believer in the Patriots right now than I am in the Steelers. The biggest challenge for me, because I do believe they've improved in every area. I think getting guys back on defense from who sat out last year from COVID is really important for them. I think they've made improvements. I know everyone laughs about how many tight ends they've signed, but I think that actually just plays to the strength of their offense. I think the quarterback situation is now a challenge for them. Cam Newton being out, what he's deciding to do or not do with the vaccination, how that's going to impact things going forward. And then all this talk every day. Mac Jones, 21-23 against the Giants starters in practice. He's the greatest thing in the world. You just talked about Patrick Mahomes putting up cartoon numbers like he's Alabama. Mac Jones put up cartoon numbers with 2 top 10 wide receivers, a Heisman Trophy winning receiver, and against teams that were debilitated, decimated by COVID. So that's what worries me about the Patriots.
All right, let's go back to week 1. This is a game, I feel like it's a trap game. Bears at Rams, Rams -7 in week 1. This feels trappy to me. First of all, Matt Stafford, first game, hasn't taken a snap. Cam Akers gone, Sony Michel in, but this is a fairly complex offense. Sony Michel's not going to be a factor. This is not going to be a dynamic week 1 or 2 offense. Okay, they lost Malcolm Brown to the Dolphins, Cam Akers, and now Darrell Henderson's hurt. So this is going to be a somewhat limited for 2-week offense. Also with the Bears and Andy Dalton. If you go back to last year with Andy Dalton, Andy's always been as good as his surrounding cast. He was a Pro Bowler and a playoff quarterback in Cincinnati. If you go to his last 7 games last year, remember, he had a concussion. He didn't get preseason. So let's not count every game he played. Let's go to his last 7. His numbers were better than Russell Wilson. They were even with Derek Carr. Don't kid yourself. Andy Dalton, week 1, he's always been pretty learned. He picked up Dallas' system very quickly. I don't think this Rams team's going to have a lot of offensive symmetry early. I would take Chicago +7. That feels trappy to me.
Well, if you can get Chicago at 7.5, I like it even more. But look, obviously, I am somewhat biased in this because I love the Bears to death. But I also agree with you. And I think that one of the challenges for Los Angeles goes back to what Aqib Talib said on your podcast right after the trade. You said to him, what do NFL players think of Matthew Stafford going to the Rams? Aqib Talib said, Matthew Stafford? Like, there just isn't that sort of awe from players in the way the media is portraying the addition of Matthew Stafford to the Rams, right? And so I think there is a ton for him to prove in this scenario. As much as I hate Andy Dalton, and I think it's a joke that the Bears signed him, and I think it's a joke that they've sort of consistently said, okay, he's QB1, he's QB1. I think the reason he's QB1 is because the worst thing in the world you can do right now is put a rookie quarterback 3 inches from Aaron Donald in his first game ever.
I totally agree. And I don't like the Bears' O-line. I don't like their O-line.
And the Bears' O-line is terrible. Like, they drafted a guy to be their new left tackle, and immediately he's injured and is never getting on the field and might be out for most of the year. So I think you've got to give Andy Dalton the ball. The reason I like the bet is because of the defense. I think the Bears' defense is actually markedly improved over last year. And so I like the bet.